Roe has been affirmed many times and survived many challenges in the court, and it's more than 40 years old, and it's clearly binding on all courts of appeals. And so it's not open to me or up to me, and I would have no interest in, as a court of appeals judge, challenging that precedent. It would bind.
Once a case is settled, that adds to the determinacy of the law. What was once a hotly contested issue is no longer a hotly contested issue. We move forward.
What would you say your position today is on a woman's right to choose?
Well, as a judge, it is an important precedent of the Supreme Court. By it, I mean Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Been reaffirmed many times. Casey is precedent on precedent.
You accept the legal principles articulated in Griswold versus Connecticut that the Liberty Clause in the Constitution carries with it the right to privacy?
Senator, I do agree that the Constitution protects a right to privacy, and it protects a right to privacy in a number of ways. The Fourth Amendment certainly speaks to the right of privacy. People have a right to privacy in their homes and in their papers and in their persons.
Had you ever met President Trump personally?
Not until my interview.
In that interview, did he ever ask you to overrule Roe v. Wade?
No, Senator.
What would he have done if he'd asked?
Senator, I would have walked out the door.
I mean, they lie with a straight face. You got to hand it to them.
I would walk out the door and I would walk into the Supreme Court and overrule it just like he wanted me to. Okay, I'm going to break down a couple of things here. Amy Coney Barrett said, it's clearly binding. It's clearly binding. It's not up to me. Anna was saying it while the video was running. Did the Catholic Church teach you to lie? Because that seems to be immoral. That's what all these guys are. And then Alito talked about the Fourth Amendment. He's like, oh, the right to privacy is right in there. I read the decision, and Alito talks about, oh, these liberal justices finding rights in the Constitution, 14th Amendment, Fourth Amendment. What, they're just making this stuff up. You said it in your confirmation hearings. Unbelievable liars. If you notice, though, a couple of them put in caveats. Amy Coney Barrett referred to lower courts. In other words, yeah, but when I'm on the Supreme Court, I'm not going to give a damn about that. I'm going to overrule it. And Kavanaugh said, as a judge, he emphasized that, as a judge, I would rule this way. But as a justice, a Supreme Court justice, he didn't answer that part, right? So that's their cutesy way. And Susan Collins, you don't know that? You don't, I mean, you don't know what I know? I'm a talk show host. Judge, justice, you don't know that difference?
In
fact, you got tricked by that?
During the confirmation hearings for Brett Kavanaugh, Susan Collins was asked multiple times about whether or not she has any concerns that he would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. And I want to remind you all of what she said in those various interviews. Let's watch.
I do not believe that Brett Kavanaugh will overturn Roe.
Precedents are overturned.
He noted that Roe had been reaffirmed 19 years later by Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and that it was precedent on precedent. He said it should be extremely rare that it be overturned, and it should be an example.
So you have obviously full confidence.
I do. We talked about whether he considered Roe to be settled law. He said that he agreed with what Justice Roberts said at his nomination hearing, in which he said that it was settled law. I could not vote for a judge who had demonstrated hostility to Roe v. Wade because it would indicate a lack of respect for precedent.
So she's just stupid and naive.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote the other way. So you could get me to believe that Susan Collins is a very stupid person. Now, people in the media will be offended on behalf of their beloved, powerful politicians. You can't call a senator stupid. Wrong, I just did.
And we'll continue to do it.
Okay, she's a total blithering moron. By the way, how do those morons get into positions of power? They go to corporate donors and they say, I'll do anything you want. I'm craven, I have no morals at all. Susan Collins says, write me a check, I'll do anything you want. That way she doesn't have to be smart. But in this case, I'm voting for liar. I think she's a complete and utter liar. I think she knew Kavanaugh and Gorsuch had an excellent chance of overturning Roe v. Wade. She knows that if she says she's against Roe v. Wade, she would lose in Maine. So she lied to the voters on purpose. And she's probably having a good belly laugh over it now. But either way, by the way, I'm not asking just you guys. As a journalist should ask. I know this is deeply offensive. It's actually, it's not. Journalists are supposed to challenge the powerful. They could put it in a more pleasant way. Susan Collins, you were obviously wrong about Kavanaugh and Roberts. So did you make that mistake because you're unintelligent? Or was it not a mistake and you knew all along and you were lying to your voters? It's a super fair question because it is inarguably one of them. She can't say, oh, I was a genius. Well, then you know. Okay, I didn't know. Well, then you're an idiot because you were positive they weren't going to do it. And guys, it's not Monday morning quarterback. You can go roll the tape on Young Turks when they were up for nomination. We all told you they're obviously going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Everyone knew that. Everyone knew they were going to do that, except Susan Collins. Okay, then you vote stupid because she's the dumbest person alive. How come the media won't ever say things that are true?
She's moderate.
Oh, she's
No,
she's beloved moderate.
Take it easy on her.
Beloved
She's
moderate.
not MAGA. She's not MAGA, except she votes with MAGA almost 100% of the time. But she's not MAGA. She might write a strongly worded letter to Trump. She's moderate.
Oh, she might write a strongly worded letter to Gorsuch and Kavanaugh now. Ooh. And by the way, moderate is mainstream media propaganda speak for corporate. Moderate Republicans and moderate Democrats means they will do exactly what the Chamber of Commerce tells them to do. They are not at all moderate when you look at the polling in the country and what the American people actually want. It is not moderate to not be in favor of child tax credit, paid family leave, lowering drug prices. These all poll 70 to 90%. Those are not moderate positions, they're corporate positions. But the job of everyone in mainstream media, CNN, New York Times, etc., is to lie to you to protect corporate politicians.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.